That was Piyush Goyal, of course. Let's move on. S. Krishna Kumar of Sundaram Mutual Fund now joins us. Of course, our theme is monsoon, and we have a couple of fund managers now joining us who will talk about this particular theme. Krishna, hi, good morning. Good to show yet again. So, I was just looking at your Rural India Fund, and some of these stocks, of course, have done well. But do you think this space is going to return a lot of alpha from here on as well if we have decent monsoon this time? Something that we heard from the Met Department as well.
Yeah. Hi, good morning. I think post the Brexit, a tactical shift in terms of portfolios of many asset managers has been to move towards more domestic stories which have a lot more drivers internal than external to India, and taking the cue from that, clearly the rural fund is well positioned, being clearly a story for the long term. Having said that, the government has refocused on the rural economy, and in the last budget, clearly a lot of time was spent on explaining the initiatives of the government and the higher budgetary allocations for various schemes and targeted committees to take up certain programs accelerated front. So I think with recovery in terms of the sector based driven from more the monsoon that you talked about, I think that's more a factor which is affecting sentiment at this point in time. Given that we've had a couple of bad monsoons, it's very important to talk about monsoon, but I would think rural is a more structural story in the longer run, given that the income levels in rural areas have been going up steadily over the last 20 years, and they seem to be really moving ahead on the consumption front and driving many sectors.
Okay, Krishna, hi, morning. Yes, despite a drought for 2 years, your fund has performed extremely well. In the 3 years, the returns from the fund are 25%, and in 5 years, it's 15%. So one can only imagine what the performance will be with a good monsoon. But don't you think the space has become a bit crowded now? I mean, anyone and everyone is buying names like UPL, Insecticides India, some of the other players like M&M are hitting new highs. Is there still scope for someone who's not gotten into this space, or do you think the returns could be limited?
Sure. I think the performance of the fund basically over the last 2 years to 3 years would be more attributed to being away from some of the globally linked sectors which are not part of the theme. For example, the upstream oil, the metal space, probably the infotech space, the PSU banking space. So the fund has clearly stayed away from most of these sectors I talked about, which have been underperforming significantly in the last 2 years. So that is one reason for the fund to do well in spite of monsoon, a couple of droughts basically. So that's the broad characteristic that helped the fund to do well. And to take on the other part of the question in terms of whether there could be a lot more upsides going forward, I think particularly a fund like Rural India, which is trying to capture the entire value chain across the rural economy, I think is well positioned. While a diversified fund like a cap fund or a product of any other peers or even a large cap fund would try to increase allocation tactically to rural place at this point in time, this fund basically provides you a near 100% exposure to all the stories around rural India. So just to give you a sense of the portfolio bias, we believe that there's a fair amount of reinvestment and productivity enhancement that will be achieved by farmers by replacing their old tractors, and tractor industry has seen big degrowth in the last 2-3 years. So farm automation, including tractors, tillers, harvesters, is a big space that will see growth. Similarly, when the farmer sees a higher potential to get a better and a net back per hectare of land, and he will start using better quality seeds of hybrids, better use of agrochemicals, and he won't miss a spray. He will use a better micronutrient and complex fertilizers than urea. So there's a clear demand growth on these sectors that will happen, and a fair bit of value up trading that also happens.
Krishna,
not only that,
yeah, Krishna,
I think if you look at the output value in
No, I take your point. Since we have positive time, I just wanted one more word from you. Two of your recent holdings have been both Ujjivan and Equitas. Of course, they have done well for you. But in this space, do you think there's still valuation comfort?
Yeah, see, I would talk about specific stocks, but just to give you a perspective, I think, India, the financial inclusion bit is just really taking off, right? With, more of the rural households getting into into the organized banking system through the JDY schemes, etc. And last year, I think about 61,000 crores has been of the direct benefit transfers have happened through these accounts, right? So there is a huge amount of people moving into the organized space, and they would be the ones which will be able to avail of the banking services, financial services of whatever kind. And we now have a fair bit of track record of the use of their accounts in terms of finances, the money that comes in and the expenditure pattern, which will give a lot of intermediaries, NBFs, small finance banks, etc., who will penetrate those markets and offer them loan products, etc. So I think the growth potential is enormous. These companies, in the small finance bank space or the microfinance space could continue to grow around 25 to 30% CAGR for the next foreseeable future, which over 3 to 5 years. And I think very few sectors offer that kind of growth potential.
Okay, let me just interrupt you on that note, because we have two of the companies that are in your funds and that have given you great returns. We have the managements with us, so you're free to ask questions as well. Let me just open the discussion. We have Samit Ghosh of Ujjivan and Sandeep Agarwal of Insecticides India. Gentlemen, morning to both of you. Sandeep, I want to start off with you. For a sector like yours, a lot depends on the rains. And as we've seen in the last 2 years, because of a weak monsoon, you've just had about 2 to 4% growth in your revenues on an average. Because the monsoons are good this year, what kind of growth do you see for the sector and for your company?
Yeah, very right. For the 2 years, due to the bad monsoons, we were not doing well. But this year, as the monsoon has already spread across the country and rains are coming fairly good, so we are hoping that the whole sector, agrochemical sector, should grow in double digits. And we are also targeting a growth of around 15 to 20% this year.
Okay, Mr. Ghosh, good morning. Your stock has taken the market by storm, of course, more than doubled since the issue price, and even after listing, we have seen strong gains. What kind of AUM growth and disbursement growth, are you factoring in now, especially if we have a good monsoon?
Yeah, I mean, as far as growth is concerned, we will continue to grow as we've grown last year, the last financial year and this year. But as you know, we are also preoccupied with the conversion to a small finance bank. So till we convert to a small finance bank, the growth levels we've had in the last year, I think we will maintain that kind of a growth level in our AUM.
Okay, we also have with us Krishna Kumar of Sundaram Mutual Fund, who holds both of your stock in one of his best performing portfolio. Krishna, do you have any questions for either Samit or Sandeep?
Sure. Probably Mr. Samit, I think, congrats. I think you had an excellent listing, and I think, I wanted to wish you on that. Just to take it further, for the benefit of viewers, probably if you could just talk a little bit about, the challenges, if any, that you face as you move from being a microfinance company to a small finance bank, and its implications from a 3-year perspective. I think that will help viewers and us to understand it better.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you know, we've been given 18 months time to convert to small finance bank. And we are planning to convert to the small finance bank by the first quarter of next year. We need a fairly extended period of time to complete the conversion for two reasons. One is we had to obviously go through the IPO process, mainly to reduce our foreign shareholding to meet the regulatory requirements, which we have done successfully so far. And then at the same time, we are in the process of the conversion of our business as such, which is our technology backbone has to be upgraded to meet the requirements of a full-service bank. Our branch network infrastructure has to change. We are required to open 25% of our branches in unbanked rural areas. So those would be new branches would be opening, and apart from upgrading our present branches. And at the same time, we have 8,000 people in the microfinance institution who have to upgrade their skills, change their mindset, and move from a sort of a single product kind of microfinance business to a multi-product company or a bank where we'll not only be giving loans, but we'll be giving we'll be offering deposit services, remittances, etc. So extensive upgrade of our training and upgrading of employees is also required. So all this requires a fair amount of time, and that's why we want to take this time to and convert only in the first quarter of next year. In the first 2 years, I think we will, or 18 months, after we start the bank, our focus will be stabilizing our bank itself while we'll be growing in a sort of reasonable rate. And then after 18 months, once we've stabilized the bank, we can again expect to grow at a significant rate.
Since we are running out of time, let me just one more question, Samit. What is the rise in costs that you would expect as you transition, and by which year would you expect the cost to peak out?
Well, I think the cost would peak out, because we are investing a lot in technology and other, as I mentioned. I think it would be in the first 2 years of our operation as the bank, our costs would peak out, and it would lead to a slight dip in our ROA and ROE during that period. But post that period, we would get back to our normal ROA and ROE. But one thing you have to keep in mind that banks are, as a sector, are lower risk compared to finance companies, and consequently you cannot expect the same kind of ROA and ROE which you expect in a very well-run finance company, for which we have a track record in the last 10 years.
Okay. Sandeep, of course, you spoke about the 15 to 20% growth, but would this be a straight, would good monsoon mean a straightaway transition to your numbers this year itself, or would there be a bit of a lag effect that will take place?
No, practically in case of good monsoon, we will definitely reach this number this year only, because we had already launched one good product called Green Level and doing well in the market in the monsoon and current month also. And latestly we had also launched one more product with a company called Momenti from USA. It is a silicon based spreader and is a new concept which we can use this product along with all our products, existing products portfolio, to increase the efficacy and efficiency of all the products in the market.
All right, gentlemen, we have run out of time, but that was a really enriching conversation. Thanks so much for joining us. And Krishna, thanks for being with us and talking about two of the companies that are in your portfolio. It's the monsoon theme that prevails, and we've had good news from the IMD.